Hey everybody, Mary Foster from Ambition here. So glad to be a part of the event. Thank you to everyone for attending. We're going to talk a little bit about ABM, breaking into the Fortune 500 with an ABM strategy that we actually use here at Ambition. So the agenda today, we're going to talk about why ABM is a team sport. So who are all the players to make a successful program, because it goes beyond just marketing in ABM. We're going to talk about how to call your shot, choosing your target accounts, defining ICP and how we went about it here. Shoot your shot, some great examples of campaigns we actually deploy. Follow it up or alley-oop over to sales across the aisle to make sure that you're being efficient, and then celebrating wins, because that's probably the favorite part about landing those target accounts. So let's get started. Why ABM is a team sport? So in order to deploy all the tactics that we need to run a successful program, it takes more than just marketing. So you're going to be pulling in players to actually run account-based engagement. That could be everyone from sales, CS, ops. We'll kind of talk about the roster, but you're going to be building a miniature team from people across the house. So this is what our house divided looks like a little bit. We have people from different parts of the org, and we want to go from this to this, where we're all on the same team to do what we need to do to land the targets that we want. So who are our players? So usually sitting in the middle is the head of the ABM program or head of demand. For us, we have a small org, but that would be me. So I am the senior director of demand gen and sit sort of right in the middle of the strategy. And then we pull in our events person who leads events, because what we want to do is pick and choose events and sponsorships based on where our targets are. And we need sales dev to call on the targets that marketing is warming up. And we need AEs to be in alignment with all the content and calendars. Content has to support from vertical content. We need ops. So we'll talk about all the players and all the parts, but it's definitely a team sport and goes very far beyond just the marketing org. So you have to get some cross-functional alignment happening. All right, so how we do it. Call your shot. How we pick and choose our accounts is not just who we want to win. That would be awesome if you could just name a logo. But what we did was try to get a little bit strategic with it and find out which current customers that we have today utilize the product the most, were expanding the most, had the least churn, paid us the most money. So there were a lot went into it to try to define commonalities across our best customers. And so we were able to do that, and we sort of put them into buckets both by market segment and size, and then also the vertical of that industry. Then we went into our CRM to see who all fit those different categories that we had in the CRM today. So if we said, all right, cool, we like software sales teams that have 200 employees and up, who all exists in the CRM today that fit that criteria that could possibly be a target? We didn't have enough people in the CRM that we wanted to go after. We had some, but not enough. So we use a tool, personally, we use Bombora so that we could set some firmographic info and say who's surging on topics that we care about: sales readiness, sales enablement, sales coaching, gamification. Who's surging on those topics that are also in this right size and in this right industry, and let's import those into the CRM weekly. So that helps us grow our CRM and identify future targets. Then we get into prioritizing. So it's more, again, than just like, are you the right size and are you the right industry? Then we start to get into scoring a little bit. So for us, it's a combination of things. So who's visiting the website? We track that and you get points. Who's downloading content? You track that and get points. Who is showing intent on G2? It's another intent program we use, and we assign points for that. And so you have now your full list of this firmographic fit, and then we're able to sort them based on points from how they're engaging with us. So then it's time to shoot your shot. What do we actually do once we have, what do we do when we have the list and have it scored? So some examples that got us started, which it was kind of hard to switch over going from this like volume approach to a more scary one-on-one approach. So we did it in sort of what could be a combo of targeted and then also still had a good mix of volume by going after verticals. So what we did was identify our verticals. We had like transportation and logistics and software and a couple others. We have tailored demo sandboxes to those verticals. So the metrics that a logistics team cares about, they're very different than the metrics that like a software team cares about. But we make sure we have instances where we can demo something personal to those verticals. We also did industry-based content. So if we had a field guide to gamification, we were able to replicate it across industries and make sure that we had a version specific to each vertical, like the transportation software. And then we also did targeted events. So we chose events based on where these different verticals would go. And then, of course, custom web landers and copy. So people talk about this a lot. You can get really complicated and cool with it, but there's also basic versions where you can just, if you know you're segmenting your email audience of logistics people, they just go to the logistics lander. We got a little bit savvy on some areas where we were able to cookie people through Drift. So we used Drift as our chatbot, and we used Google Optimize to serve different hero copy, for example, based on the industry and things like that. So that's one way we did it. We also knew we had to grow our contacts at these targets so that sales dev had more people to reach out to and more warm people to reach out to rather than just combing LinkedIn. So we do content syndication is a great option for us, except to Matt, Pure B2B, my guy. And we deploy content to our target accounts through their content syndication program. So that has been great for us. And we've been able to direct set meetings off of content downloads that are coming, contacts we didn't have yet. Persona events are another great way to kind of scale and get started with the program. So our event director, Jamie, she hosts very VIP events for our premium top tier 1 type of targets. And so we're not allowed to come. I'm not allowed to come. No one from Ambition is allowed to come sell them. It's a pure value add. And so what she does is really arrange current customers who have similar titles, similar industry, puts them in a group with our prospects that we want to win. So arranges a panel around common challenges, particularly in the enterprise. This works very well. And that's like another program. And then my favorite program is one that I call SDR Best Friend. So what this is every touch that we communicate, whether it actually come from the marketing side or the sales dev side or on the website, we try to make it feel like it is the same person talking to them. So let's just say Nolan, my guy Nolan here on Sales Dev. If you are Nolan's target account and you come to the site, our little Drift bot knows that you're Nolan's account, and it'll be a picture of Nolan that's like, hey, I'm Nolan. Let me know if you need help. Nolan's also the person who's doing the sequences. And then also, if we can identify that it's Nolan's account, when they click to take a demo or something, it routes automatically to Nolan's AE. And then guess who's also sending them direct mail and gift cards? That's right, it's Nolan. So we try to make it feel like there is a best friend relationship with the SDR. People like to talk about segmenting tiers in ABM, and this is like a maturity model that I think we're working into personally. So people talk about one-to-one, one-to-many. The target, like by vertical, helped us kind of do a combination of both, but you can see some of the difference here. So yeah, content syndication, we're doing that for what we call one-to-one and one-to-many. Paid social on LinkedIn. Yep, everyone gets it. We upload all of the lists on LinkedIn. Where it gets different and what we call one-to-one are some of those VIP events, some of the more expensive direct mail, and then some of the deeper research for the AE team. Like top tier account, you might need to know their entire tech stack. That's hard to find. It's going to take someone spending a lot of research, doing a lot of calls, but it will be worth it to understand like the exact use cases. But no, we don't do that for everyone in the CRM who sells software at a size of 200 employees and up. That would be reserved for very, very top tier accounts that are more meaningful to win. So ours is not super sophisticated. I think people can get bogged down in like, what's a one-to-one, what's a one-to-many, what's a one-to-few. But we really just prioritize it into like a very small handful of top tier that get more research and more time and more money. And then everybody else who's kind of like that in the verticals that we want. This is kind of a no-brainer. It's probably a little bit too soft, but I'll throw it in here anyway. What makes an ABM campaign great? The more personalized it can feel, the better. And so again, an example of that would be if you send an email to all of your logistics prospects and they come to the website, wouldn't it be nice if the hero said like the leading coaching platform for logistics teams? Feels like you're speaking to them. It's very easy to set up. It's free with Google Optimize. Great example of that. Other things would be focused on those pain points. So really making sure that your teams are enabled to speak to common pain points across these verticals. It does need to be actionable and valuable to the buyer. So this is something, you know, who has a great experience of this is, no surprise, I guess, based on what they do, but 6 Sense. So when you go, they're able to identify you on the site pretty quickly. I'm able to schedule right to my direct AE's calendar. There's no demo form, and we're trying to do some of the more sophisticated things like that, but it really just creates a more seamless experience from start to finish, leveraging technology. We talked about this a little bit, but just to recap some of the SDR best friend, which is a play I think everyone can take if you have even just a basic tech stack. So you can align the emails and calls, of course, are coming from the sales development rep that owns those accounts. There's ownership set in the CRM. You can deploy gifts from the SDR. We use Postal to do that. And then guess what? If they attend a webinar or an event that Jamie puts on, we don't just do a generic follow-up. Guess who follows up? The SDR. Then they land on the site and the chat is a picture of the SDR. And then when you click on the calendar, it's the SDR. And then we also are exploring the idea of LinkedIn ads custom, like from the people instead of just the brand. So that's a little recap of my favorite one we do. But then there's also a conversation on the ops side of like, how do you follow up? Like, how does it go from, let's say someone downloads my coaching analysis either from pure B2B or on my website. They're from my target account. They download my content. Great. This is when you run the alley-oop over to sales. So the way we do it is a combination of notifications in real time. So as soon as someone downloads the white paper or the ebook or whatever it is, the SDR who owns it gets a notification in Slack. That's real time if they're able to reach out. Oh, you just downloaded my ebook. Cool. That's not always possible. Maybe you're in a blitz. Maybe you're on another call. You can't do everything in real time, but we do have real-time notifications. And then we also batch and send those over weekly. And then again, the scoring too. So if I'm Nate and I've got my list pulled up for the day, how do I sort it? How do I know who just downloaded something? How do I know who's been to the site a few times? Again, that comes back to the scoring. I'm going to prioritize the hottest people first. And And again, notifications from G2, all of that is set up so that things are happening in real time from marketing activity over into sales dev so that we can work the best people in the right order. Okay, this is partially just because what we do, but a big part of our success in making this repeatable has been to have a good time. So we've tried ABM in the past, years past. What ends up happening is you have a quota and you just go work whatever you can get to hit your quota. Maybe you need one more meeting and you're at quota and you don't care about your target list, so you just go set a meeting with whoever you can get. I think everyone knows that that can happen and that has happened. And if you're not careful, you lose your ABM program to a bunch of lone wolves just desperately trying to hit quota. So what we do to create a repeatable process, and that has been the most successful so far, is celebrating everything. It's great because it's fun, but it's also a lot of visibility. So what that looks like for us, again, is notifications. So we use our own product to notify the celebration channel when we set meetings off target accounts or any meeting. And you can believe that when I see, oh, interesting meeting that outbound rep set that wasn't on the target list and wasn't a priority, what is happening here? It lets me keep everyone accountable to the process, but it also lets me celebrate when an amazing logo comes either inbound, sup to Joe who works the inbound, or if an outbound rep is able to get it through calling on them that way. So celebrating when the meetings are set, it happens in real time. It's super fun and it keeps everyone motivated to want to set more meetings off the target list. We do something similar around pipeline generation. So if your meeting turns into qualified pipeline, everyone gets to see the big money, and we celebrate around that too, which is just fun. But a bigger thing than that, it is accountability, it is encouragement, but it keeps people adhering to the process, and it keeps people across the org informed into what is going on. So again, we talked about, it's not just marketing, it's not just sales, it's people from ops, it's people from CS when we're trying to upsell a first year account. There's all sorts of people that need to know what is happening in real time, and it's a great way to inform them through something that's fun that everyone likes. I do think we've been successful. We talk about this as like breaking into the Fortune 500, and here's how we're doing it. Here's who we're getting. And so I do, because it is nature of our product to celebrate, I do have something that I want to share, which is our hype playlist. I'm going to leave y'all with this. I'm going to share it in the chat. We like to have a good time. If y'all want to have a good time when you're setting meetings from your target, when you are converting your meetings into qualified ops, please join us. Just linked you to the Spotify playlist. Listen along. Drake fans in the house gonna be happy. I had a lot of Drake on there. Okay, I think I'm at 2 minutes on time left. Are there any questions? I'm sorry I didn't keep up with the chat in real time, but any questions in the last 2 minutes? Drake fan, hey Richard. I see some people talking about used to be the lone wolf out there. Listen, marketing doesn't hate you. We just want to redirect you back to the list. We want to keep you on the list. Okay, Q&A section. Sorry. How will you create a process to understand how warm or cold they are? We do scoring. So if you've been to the website, you get points. If you've downloaded content, you get points. If you have filled out a pricing form, you get more points. So ours are based on form fill and then also intent data. So we do score not just website visits, but if you're surging on our terms or shopping on G2, there's points. Favorite question. Do BDRs report to marketing or sales? Okay, here it's sales. This is a very hot topic. We have an unofficial team we call Team Pipeline. So we've made our own team. How does strategic outbounding play into your ABM strategy? It's really back to the list. I think we are not that mature in differentiating super strategically. Like some of the top tier, we do partner sell and co-sell with other companies. So a little bit more on that, but I know we're at time. I hope y'all find me on LinkedIn. Thank you for coming. Team Pipeline forever.